It's time for the Week 5 waiver wire. Let's get it started. Do you have questions at quarterback? Don't worry, I got you. Can I interest you in CJ Stroud? Do you mean quarterback 10 on the year, CJ Stroud? Yes, I do. 3 games in a row with 21 or more fantasy points. My man has had 300 yards or more in 2 out of the last 3 games and 2 touchdowns in 3 straight games. And now he gets to go against the Atlanta Falcons. Sign me up. Stroud's gonna be good for the long haul. We can no longer ignore Joshua Dobbs. He's had 20 or more points in 2 out of the last 3 weeks. And the week he had 17, he was playing Dallas. Not bad. He gets it done in the air and on the ground. He had 12 rush attempts last week. He's had 40 or more rushing yards in 3 straight weeks. Now that's what I call production. It's a safe floor. And if you really need somebody, you can go to Sam Howell. 20 or more fantasy points in 2 out of the last 3 weeks. And he looked good against the Eagles, who are normally a pretty good defense. I also love that he ran the ball 6 times last week for 40 yards. He could increase his touchdowns, but he gets Chicago this week. I think those touchdowns go up. Are you weak at wide receiver? Don't worry, I got you. Michael Wilson, he went off this week. 7 receptions for 76 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now the 2 touchdowns aren't a sticky stat, but those 7 targets, I think he's going to be more involved moving forward. Tyler Boyd's a good grab. With T. Higgins going down, Tyler Boyd is going to be more involved in the offense. Really not super excited about the Cincinnati Bengals, but targets are targets. I think this is a volume play. Joe Burrow will have to throw it somewhere. A few receivers that are worth a stash. Curtis Samuel in a desperation play. He plays Chicago this week, not bad. If he keeps these targets up, I think he might be worth playing in the coming weeks. Monitor that. 8 or more targets in back-to-back game for Terrence Marshall. Not a lot of yards, no touchdowns. Definitely worth monitoring. They're gonna have to throw against Detroit. Jameson Williams was officially reinstated by the NFL. He was suspended for gambling. Now that he's back, I think he'll be a spark for the Detroit offense. Worth a grab. Some people might drop Quentin Johnston. Keep an eye out for him. For the long term, he's not gonna be relevant this week. Obviously, he's on a bye. Wan'Dale Robinson, not flashy, but I think he might be a good long-term grab. If you got an extra spot on your bench and you're just looking for upside later on, might want to throw him on there. Are you having a rough time at running back? Don't worry, I got you. Javonte Williams had a hip flexor injury. Adam Schefter says he's not expecting him to miss much time, but with this injury, on top of the fact that he's already coming off of an injury, there's a chance he does miss some time. And if he does miss time, Jaleel McLaughlin will step in. Now, he was super efficient last week. I don't expect that to continue. 7 carries for 72 yards, 30 in the air, and a touchdown. But they have proven that he's going to be more involved. I don't like these matchups coming up. Jets, Chiefs, Packers are meh, but back to the Chiefs. It's going to be tough sledding. This is more of a desperation play. Samaje Perine might also get some work here. Matt Breida was pretty solid in his 2nd game without Saquon Barkley. If Saquon misses again, I think Matt Breida would be a solid start against Miami. Chipper Hubbard had 14 carries for 41 yards. That's pretty meh. But Miles Sanders came into this game banged up. If he misses any time, Chuba's going to be that dude. Going against Detroit this week, not a great matchup, but if Miles Sanders is banged up in this game, Chuba might get some more work. That's viable. I know y'all are desperate. I know these are backups. It's the best we got right now. Are you having a tough time at tight end? Don't worry, I got you. Somehow Jake Ferguson is still available. He's had double-digit points in the last 3 games. He's also had 7 targets in 3 of his 4 starts. What are we doing, people? Pick him up. Zach Ertz remains one of the main pieces in this offense. 10 targets last week, 60 reception for 53 yards, and he should have had a touchdown. Pick up Zach Ertz if he's still out there. Somehow he's available in almost 60% of leagues. A couple dart throws for you. Tyler Conklin has had double-digit fantasy points in 2 of the last 3 games, and Denver just allowed Cole Kmet to score all over them. Clearly they're not guarding a tight end. Sign me up for Tyler Conklin if you're desperate. And sign me up for the most productive tight end in Atlanta. No, not Kyle Pitts. Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith went 6 for 6 last week with 95 yards. Are you joking me? What are you doing, Atlanta? What in the world could possibly possess you to throw it to Jonnu Smith over the tight end that you drafted in the top 10 picks? What are you thinking? And it's not a fluke. The game before that, 8 targets. The game before that, 6 targets. Give these targets to Kyle freaking Pitts. Thank God I didn't draft Pitts anywhere. Oh, I feel so bad for y'all. Are you desperate for a defense? Don't worry, I got you. How are the Detroit Lions still available in over 90% of leagues? What are y'all doing? They've had double-digit points in back-to-back weeks, and they got the Carolina Panthers this week. Side note, the Detroit Lions are the 8th best fantasy defense this year. Grab them. The Houston Texans have had double-digit fantasy points in back-to-back weeks. I think they're worth the ad, plus they go against the Atlanta Falcons. They are going to feast on Desmond Ridder. Side note, 10th best fantasy football defense this year. And lastly, the Commanders. You're going to see a theme here. Follow the teams playing the Chicago Bears. It's the Washington Commanders' turn this time. Sign me up for sacks, picks, and fumbles. Thank you. For more fantasy football analysis this week, click right here. I got you.